in the series because Hanwha Life Esports are massively favored.
Yeah, exactly right. We are going to bring up those team lineups for you as well, so we can go and check on any changes. There is going to be one notable one over the side of Hanwha Life. Dudu will be making his way in. He'll be replacing Morgan up there, so we're not going to have the Arthurian combo in the top side of the map. Or I guess Red Dead Redemption 2, it depends what you care about. As Dudu stepping in, I think bringing a bit of extra veterancy is going to be important here for these guys. I don't know whether Morgan was necessarily looking any better than what Dudu was last.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that as well. Still early days, but you know, give a little bit of extra experience when you're playing against an easier team earlier on. But taking a look at, of course, DRX's starting lineup here, same that you're probably going to see for the entirety of the split with Kingen in the top lane. Kingen definitely impressing a lot on the Gnar. You know, Valdez was talking about it quite a bit when he was playing it, and then of course reminding everyone about it yesterday throughout the day because Gnar has been such a you know, sore topic, I think, for teams who played him and lost. He actually played it really well, Kingen did.
Yeah.
So we will see how he performs today if he does end up playing the Gnar. I think that priority has definitely gone down quite a bit, though, in the draft.
Yep, I imagine, you know, Dudu's probably okay with playing it as well, but I just don't want to see it necessarily. It is good, and, you know, it's lost once in the LPL, at least prior to today's matches. So it must work. It just has only worked one time over here in the LCK.
Look at these stats, by the way, for Chovy. You mentioned it earlier. Despite a loss in that series against T1 on opening day, he still is second in damage per minute, damage percent on his team. And he's leading so many metrics despite that loss. And, I mean, this is a terrifying mid laner. I mean, perhaps the scariest we have next to the likes of BDD, Faker, and Closer, who's up and coming himself. So that is going to be a really tough matchup for Solka. He knows his teammate, former teammate I should say, very well, no doubt, but doesn't mean he's going to be able to out-finesse him.
Yeah, exactly right. I imagine Showmaker probably wants to...
Sure, of course. I mean, outside of God tier.
Yukal's actually the one... Yukal's the one that has the statistics over Chovy in this particular moment. So the mid lane's a really weird place and point of contention so far this early into the season. But maybe that's a sample size issue. We'll actually have to see how it shakes out, as the first ban on Hanwha Life's side is going to be the Lucian, and the Crocodile going to be taken away from Dudu.
Yep. So Lucian jumping back up in this series for sure. As we'll see where Hanwha Life wants to go jungle-wise. The ban on the Nidalee. And Pioshik has been, obviously, continuing to prioritize Kindred, especially in the matchup against Graves. We saw that already from DRX just 2 days ago. So I feel like they don't have to be the ones to lead the jungle bans. They can leave that to Hanwha Life and either respond. If Olaf's left open, you know, they can respond that way. They can also go ahead and grab the, not even necessarily in first rotation, that Kindred.
Well, Hanwha Life are definitely going to pick Olaf. That is 100% what they're going to do if it is left up, as Lulu is going to be banned.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one.
We saw the pretty weird Lulu top lane attempted bow hyper carry Vayne, and this just removes that combination from existing. And we saw it almost popped off for DRX. That was the game too, where we had a really wonky game in that series with Afrika, where the Lulu top came in and they almost were able to make it work. In the late game, you could start to see Vayne starting to do insane damage, but just gonna essentially say that's off the table with this Lulu ban.
Well, the Talia is going to be prioritized here for Arthur. Not going to go for the Olaf by the looks of things, as that's the top of the tier list. I imagine Pioshik's pretty happy to go towards it. He plays a lot of the Olaf, but actually looking at Lee Sin for now, but it won't be actually locked away, as Pioshik's just going to play with our hearts for a little bit. I imagine it's going to be Kai'Sa and the Alistar.
It's kind of crazy how Kane just never really made it into Korea. Never was played in the Kespa Cup when he was at arguably his strongest. And, you know, he was one of the higher win rate junglers. And, oh!
Whoa!
Okay, we're actually going to see Lisa you were looking for. You've been talking about a lot. It's Pioshik who plays it first.
Yeah, I actually wanted it to be blank. I'm not going to lie, because blank's performance on the champion has been so good historically and things like that. But I'm okay with getting it from Pioshik as well. I mean, he's also a very talented mechanical player. Okay, we've got the split push duo coming in. This was the split push combo that was so incredibly potent in the World Championship, and you can change up all of the items, but apparently it won't stop Hanwha Life Esports.
I mean, this is insane top priority with how quickly Talia can rotate up there. Chovy is going to be able to destiny his way into picks in the top lane. So I feel like right now, if you're DRX, you really, especially with the Lee Sin pick that they have, you really have to prioritize a very tanky, survivable top laner. I think something like an Ornn would be a great choice. So we'll see if Hanwha Life Esports decide to take that away. I don't think something like a Gnar is going to function very well against this draft. So I'm a little bit worried about how strong Hanwha Life's lineup is right now and how DRX are going to respond.
We'll have to see what Hanwha Life are going to put on the bottom side of the map as well. Ophelio is going to be banned away. I imagine Samira probably going to leave as well. And there it goes. So I guess Syndra gets banned away from Sulka, or something else aimed at keeping the Twisted Fate in a better position in the laning phase. But Hanwha Life, yeah, we know exactly what they want to do. And, following them with the Galio is actually another thing that they can take away. So I like that ban as well. See where DRX decide to go.
Sulka's pretty flexible as a mid laner. He's had some crazy picks over the length of his career as a sub 4 DRX, but the Cassiopeia is one of them.
This is his main one.
He has done a lot with this pick. He's just played it recently in the Kespa Cup as well to decent success. I was going to say the other one he could have maybe thought for following is the Silas, but I'm going to stick with the Cassiopeia here.
I love the Cassio because it's Sulka's signature pick, right? Like, this guy was a one-trick on the Cassio for a really long time. When he debuted, I believe it was in the Kespa Cup in the end of 2019, his Cassio was all we wanted to see, right? So I'm glad that he's playing it. It's a little bit niche, but it can work into the Twisted Fate as Deft goes back to the Misfortune. She's seen one loss so far in the LCK, but Deft, a different beast, I guess.
Yeah, very successful so far. Otherwise, though, in other regions. And we'll see the Maokai coming in. Going to be looking for some Imperial Mandate damage there in the end. And I feel like this is going to be, this final pick for DRX is going to be defining for this game. Because how are you going to have Cassiopeia teleport up and trade? Talked about the Ornn being a safe pick. Mordekaiser is also nigh unkillable under turret. You put him in the top lane. Once he has 6, you just cannot roam to kill him easily. We saw this actually played in the Kespa Cup against this very style of roam, this very style of aggressive top lane pushing into ganking, into just getting that insane priority for Camille. And this is a really safe pick. It's not a pick of, okay, Mordekaiser's the best meta top laner left. It's a counter pick towards this aggressive rotating style. It's going to be so hard to kill. So this actually changes the dynamic that Hanwha Life drafted early on.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how Kingan's going to be able to play this one out, because it's not necessarily an isolated winning situation for the Mordekaiser, but it is so gank immune with the fact that you just put people in the death realm, right? So Kingan will have to play this lane correctly and be safe, but like you say, it does sort of put a bit of a spanner in the works if the focus is going to be on the top side of the map for these Chovy roams. But giving Chovy like all of this initiative on the Twisted Fate, I think is the most scary thing for DRX. Because we know that Chovy just wins lanes. It doesn't matter which champion he's playing, he just wins lanes.
This is a real test for Sulka, I feel. I mean, he's putting his first foot forward, picking his most famous champion into a matchup that can be defining us to how much they can do in the top lane, especially into tanky, nigh unkillable Mordekaiser once he has his Death Realm up at 6, or his Death Warp, whatever his ultimate is called. He's going to put people in that. Okay, I said it right. Still learning all the ability names. I know what they do, but the names always mess me up. All right, but he's going to be able to put people under that turret, and it's going to be hard to kill him in the top lane.
Damn right it is. You know what's not going to be hard? Getting onto Summoner's Rift, because we're going to do it right now. I actually thought that we were going to immediately get a pause, and then I would have cast a curse the heck out of this situation, but I didn't. And here we are. Arthur, he's going to be taking some wall rides, and the Talia has been very, very powerful so far in the LCK. I don't know whether she's actually lost as of yet, as I will cheat and actually have a look. And the answer is no. She's currently 4-0, I think, because she won a game earlier today. And now looking to see whether she can pick up her 5th. But Life Esports also trying to find their first victory here in the LCK as well, as T1 really did a number on them, especially macro-wise. And I want to see more out of Life because they do have a lot of very experienced and very smart players. They just did get ran around the rift by all of the young guns on T1.
Yeah, has been the story of at least that series. And cast back up again, Life Esports impressing until it got tough, right? They were a pretty easy group, and there was a lot of hype around them. So we're going to see a pretty aggressive invade here. Steal this blue away.
Yeah. Having a look at some of the stats from Kyoshik, he's been doing some work here. Got some good numbers, as the steal is going to be very successful. So already you've got Kyoshik on the back foot.
Yeah, that's not ideal, especially for Sin, but we'll see what he can accomplish in these upcoming moments. The Mordekaiser conversation in the top lane is really an interesting one, because before 6, you know, the matchup, I personally think is very skill based, and it looks like, just based on what we're seeing in the minimap, like King is having a good time here at level 2. But once you hit, okay, really good time.
All right, gets the magic shield, but the passive's still doing some work here from Kingen. Dangerous, apparently, according to Dudu, but Dudu plays a lot of Camille last season, so shouldn't be struggling too much and should understand how this matchup is supposed to go.
Yeah. Post 6, I mean, Camille is going to put a lot of pressure on him, but as long as he doesn't overextend the lane, he should be able to just hide under this turret. So he's, again, going to trade aggressively here, as best as he can.
Yeah, the passive actually helping Dudu out a lot right here, so thankfully he's had that one timed for when he's going to get Death Grip. Dudu pushing the wave back, and we'll just have to see how this lane is going to develop over time, as the hook shot is all Kingen really needs to be worried about. So if he's standing exactly where he is, he'll be absolutely fine, as Arthur's going to clear out some vision and grab himself this Rift Scuttler as it is about to spawn. Kyoshik, though, is on the wrong side of the map to get a Scuttle Crab himself, so this is a bit awkward timing, because Talia eats crabs so quickly.
Not to mention that his bot lane is pushed in super hard. There's just nothing they can do there, unfortunately. So this is going to be the first aggressive push towards the Mordekaiser. Kyoshik is already here to the rescue, but not going to be able to turn much around here, unfortunately.
Yeah, they just sort of walk in there like, oh, okay, I'll just leave then, it's fine. But Kyoshik giving away his position there is actually still good for Harmor Life, because now Arthur knows that he can head down here and grab himself some seafood, and also head to the bottom lane potentially, unless Kyoshik can just book it there, but it looks like he's going to take a chicken break.
Looks like that perhaps, because they knew that very likely Arthur was going to be towards the top side of the map there, that especially because of where Soko was standing, that they were considering trying to bait that fight into Cassiopeia teleport in. She does a ton of damage in that fight, perhaps gets an early kill, starts to snowball an advantage, but doesn't happen that way, as Hunter Life think better of it, don't commit. King is going to head back to lane now, taking the long walk, doesn't want to give away his teleport just yet.
Yep, speaking of teleports, Chovy going to go back, grab himself some shoes, and then he's teleporting in as well. That Petrifying Gaze not going to be as scary with Mercury Shreds collected. Kyoshik did manage to get the Rift Scuttler after going for a bit of a reset instead, gets himself a book and a ring. As you can see, Def making it rain here onto Bao, and these saplings are going to get more and more frustrating as this game goes along.
Certainly true. There's the teleport from Soka, so this is actually a pretty nice advantage for Chovy, because he's going to have Destiny very shortly once he hits 6, so he's still going to be able to roam around the map and potentially find some extra pressure. Very likely going to be in the bot lane again because it's Mordekaiser top, but that's something that Soka can't match right now with teleport. And had he been able to keep it, which I don't think is reasonable in this case, he needed to buy. But if he had been able to keep it, it would have been a lot safer for DRX. But right now there is this kind of scary moment as Destiny's coming online very shortly.
Ooh, we might need to name that ward, because it might be around for a while. Chovy going in and making sure that he knows exactly what's going on in the red buff side of the DRX jungle. And now we'll see whether the gold card is going to ring true, because Vista wants it. In fact, you don't even really need to start it with a gold card. There is so much CC, and they wrap around the Casio, so she can only hit one person with her ultimate. That was beautifully done by Hanwha.
Very, very clutch rotation here as well, right in the time where, you know, the ward timing, the ward you were talking about there, makes it so that they know for sure there's no help coming through. The vision control on the top side of DRX's side is insane, as Dudu is being aggressive, not even without 6 after that last exchange.
Yeah. That was a Dunga. Very nicely done by Dudu.
Yeah.
Gets out of the way of the Death's Grasp. Which I shouldn't call Death Grip. That's a different video game.
Close enough.
As we're going to see this again. Look at it. It's just everyone spreads, so only one person gets hit.
It's two in this case.
I told a complete blatant lie.
It's actually, it was almost only one, but the idea was still, I mean, everything you said is still true. Like, the split was there so that it would hopefully only hit one. It's actually perfectly done by Solka, given the situation, to get 2. Just barely hitting both at the very edges of that ult, but even still, you know, like you said, not enough to keep him alive. He does go down. And this is really good map control, vision control by Hanwha Life Esports. And they're not even done with it yet. They're like, okay, where's the one place we don't know where Pyosik could be? Oh, it must be here. Let me just verify that before we look for the Scuttle and Drake.
Yeah, they might be able to just take it here as well. Destiny still available. Chovy now with an assist in his back pocket. Very even as far as the lane is concerned. Just the general reading when it comes to Twisted Fate and how he's always been played is, if the first Destiny works, then your Twisted Fate team is going to be off to a great start. And I think that is going to be all the more true, as there's the Make It Rain into the bullet time, and Bao has to leave.
That's a really unfortunate moment there. As, I mean, now you're just shoved back again. Hanwha Life Esports have full Drake control. They have a control ward right next to the river. They have the Scuttle, and it's a Cloud Drake, so no one's, you know, getting too excited about it just now. But right now, if you're DRX, you just don't really have anything you can do on the map. Solka's teleport's still a long ways away from coming back up, and unfortunately, Pyosik has just been a no-impact jungler in this game.
But he's just been spotted the entire time. Yeah. That ward that is yet to be named has managed to spot out exactly where Pyosik is, and Dudu's just going to wait out the Death Realm as best he can. Kingen, I believe, missed that Obliterate, as now the Destiny's going to come in, and Kingen's going to come out of his Death Realm and into the Death Chamber, unfortunately, and then Pyosik's going to follow suit. That was not exactly what they wanted on the DRX side, and 3-0 now in favor of Hanwha.
That was just a very aggressive move there. Unfortunately for Kingen, and everybody was there to catch the ball. I mean, Chovy had Destiny available. Very late rotation for Pyosik, so he's not able to do anything. And now it's going to be Dudu teleporting into mid to maximize the farm. And he's going to start to get pretty big.
Yeah, I'll pick that one up.
You know?
Yeah, Chovy also not going to have any trouble against Kingen either. Just outrange him and shove that wave in as well. So nothing going to be missed. And we're going to have a look at this one more time. It was Kingen popping the ult pretty early. But Dudu, it just felt like he was never really in any...
Yeah, he used his hook shot to avoid most of the damage early, then flashed away. And he survived the Death Realm. He's able to outlast it, as you said. And very easy to buy enough time for the rest of his team, who immediately reacted to what happened and had vision control in that word, like you said, that hasn't been named. We'll just call it Jeff, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, Jeff sounds good.
Jeff, the first ward I name in the LCK. Going to be up there, getting some extra information. I mean, the control ward that's in the just north of the Drake pit is still there as well. It's like, this is one of those times where I almost want to see vision score, like, you know.
I want to know Jeff's vision score, because Jeff's like had his eyes on this blind monk this entire game. And he's doing a great job. I think Pyosik's about to walk over it yet again. So really intelligent warding here from Chovy, but also just a little bit lackluster on the side of DRX. They've been completely scoped out almost this entire game, as Dudu maybe setting up for a bit of a gank here onto Kingen, who doesn't quite have his Death Realm back available. They're going to go in once. Yep, the red buff is going to tick down, and then I have a feeling they're going to go for it. But no, they're just going to take some turret plates. And
they didn't know. They didn't know where Lee Sin was exactly. You could see there was actually a few exclamation mark pings going down around where he was. So they knew there was a chance that he was coming up and would have made it a little bit scary. I think they probably still could have done it, but better safe than sorry, I suppose, is the decision made here in this case. And they still get the turret with the Rift Herald, all those extra plates, and in fact, going to get a second charge as well. This is looking exactly what you want.
That's
like, this is exactly what you want if you're playing the Camille and you're like, wait, we got this into Mordekaiser, so they picked a kind of counter pick to our strategy, and we're still crushing it.
And this was like after Kingen was 6 as well, and Kingen's the one that actually decided to go aggressive against a composition that wanted to rotate up and take him down, so bit of egg on his face, you could say. To be honest, like, Mordekaiser's just had a bit of a bad name here in the LCK. It did work very well in the LPL when he was popular, but still feeling a little bit niche. It felt like Keen was the only one that was ever really able to pilot him effectively, and even then didn't win a lot of games on the champion. As Deft, he's having a good time. Decides to cancel that one early at threat of a headbutt pulverize, but this is Deft just taking control, getting plates, and I don't know what's going to happen, but DRX need to do something to try and get this game back under control, because otherwise it's going to snowball completely.
I mean, I think it may already have Atlas, you know, snowballed out of control. Pyoshik, again, just constantly under the eyes, the scrying eyes of all the wards across the map. There's 2 control wards now on the north side of red. There's another control ward south of blue. They stole blue away from Pyoshik as they pushed aggressively under those turret plates. And I mean, it begs the question as to why they even canceled the bullet time anyways, because everyone was there to save him. Like, it's like, well, you know what? Might have actually just held on to that one, because probably could have dove the turret there, because everyone's always where they need to be. There's no lane priority on this map anywhere. I mean, Soka's holding his CS even as best as he can, but that is about it.
Oh no, Jeff!
Oh no.
Oh, Jeff survives. What? Kingen missed it. He didn't even see him. I thought he even walked through the brush, but I was watching the minimap, so that's what we've got to do. You got to check in on Jeff just to make sure that he's okay, and the minimap is fine for that. So on Jeff watch, we have no issues anymore, as Jeff's just going to show them exactly where where Pyoshik is another time, and that's going to mean that Deft can walk past this turret if you would like to, try and take the rest of these plates before they fall in 22 seconds.
Look at Vista,
like
just slowing their return back to defend it, so it gets full plates here. And in fact, this is not safe.
Oh god.
They've got to see us something.
Well, they're actually going to go for the dive, as Bao is able to avoid the Christmas brambles. And Arthur gets tagged, but this is still a disaster. It doesn't.
Vista's not ready to call this quits either. He's like, let me just support you from the tri-brush over here. You want to get any more turret plates? Oh, you got all of them already? Okay. I'll back away.
Indeed. And I think that, people probably had a lot of doubts about this DRX draft. It does make sense if you've been, watching these players a lot. I mean, Solker, of course, definitely loves Cassiopeia, and I don't mind teams sticking to comfort, but it looks really, really silly when now they just don't have any way of getting back into this game, and this Twisted Fate composition is just going to walk over them. It is one of the most oppressive styles of composition if you can't stop it early, and so now it just feels like there's not very many options for DRX.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit unfortunate to watch, as, that's 10 times the gold on plate.
Insane.
Here for Humble Life.
I think the biggest, the biggest factor, there's a close-up on Jeff. The biggest factors in this game have been twofold. Arthur having insane ward coverage throughout this game. I mean,
Jeff, no!
Well, at least we got one last look at him before he went down. But I mean,
true. That's true. You had to witness your first ward die. Wolf,
it's
okay.
I'll probably, after a good night's sleep, I'll start to get over it. Probably gonna affect me during the days off. Though I'll be thinking of you, Jeff.
Yeah, me
but
too. Monday, Tuesday. We'll have the funeral.
Yeah, I
on
think
Monday,
that's good. Yeah, set the location. I'll be there.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that
Without Master.
the two biggest things. It's like Dudu is just gonna go in here. He's death roamed, but who cares?
Well, now Sulker actually trying to offer some damage back. Has already ulted as now Dudu gets back in. They managed to lock down that kill, but in the meantime, Vista is going to die. So that's going to be the first kill over to DRX. And in the top lane, no play-by-play required, really. That was just the quintessential TF Camille and a dead Mordekaiser in the end.
Yeah, and this, going back to what I was going to lead into before we, had death of Jeff, death of Kingen, is that it feels like the turning point of this game was really when Kingen decided to aggressively use his ultimate in the top lane to try to make a play happen, which then, of course, led to absolute control of this lane once again. And again, he uses his ult here now defensively, but Chovy is here, gold cards at the ready, just able to Destiny in. He gets taken out. I mean, Arthur's like, oh, I wish I had rotated mid, At this point. And this is actually just going to be the Sulka stun coming through the ultimate here from Vista to try to save Deft. He's successful in that regard, but does go down himself.
Yeah, Vista sort of like sacrificing his life for the good of the colony, as he would as a good support. So Deft doesn't even have to blow his flash, actually. Just going to Gale Force his way out of it. Arthur and Chovy now starting off this Mountain Drake to augment their cloud that they already have. I'm predicting that we're going to have Earth, Wind, and Fire this game, is also predicting Becca to take half of his health bar and damage. Not really much of a prediction, given the fact that it literally just happened as I was saying it. And it'll be an Ocean Soul, so I'm just wrong, Wolf. You take it away.
Indeed. Just, had to check on that. Of course, we are going to see another aggressive Destiny in here. On to Kingen. And there's no turret here. There's just no way out.
I've seen this movie before, Wolf. I've seen it
sad
before.
Ending.
It's not good for Mordekaiser. Sauron dies again on my multiple time watching Lord of the Rings. I guess he's just going to go to spoiler alert, but I guess that one's a million years old, so you probably should have seen it already.
Or at least read the books,
Yeah, true. But yeah, Sauron not doing so well.
So, yeah, I mean, this game has just run away from DRX, unfortunately. The Ocean Soul here, not going to be super impactful, so kind of just forget about it, I suppose. It could be good for DRX if they're able to somehow bring this back and stack it up. But an 0-3 Mordekaiser, probably not going to save him in this game, not going to bring him back to relevance, don't imagine. And that's even if they could somehow turn this around and start to pick up some of those Drakes. I think the real selling point here for DRX's comp was supposed to be how safe it was in the top lane. And it just has not been because Kingen made a few small mistakes early on. And, I mean, look, this combo has been so incredibly powerful. Camille, Twisted Fate, but you get the Talia also, and you're ulting aggressively. I mean, it's just, it's almost like he's forgetting who he's playing against here.
Well, I'm sure they remember because, of course, the DRX organization certainly understands the majority of what makes Hanwha Life the team that they are at this stage. Brambles flying through here in the mid lane as this turret is not long for the world. And it's just a bit of a sad game to watch, to be perfectly honest with you. This is a Hanwha Life that are angry after their first loss to T1. And I think a few of us watching that T1 series thought that Hanwha Life might have put up more of a performance against them. And I imagine that those feelings were shared by Hanwha as well. And this is the result. This is an angry Hanwha really wanting to drive this victory home.
Yeah. And this is what they're looking to do. Chovy here, just going to gold card his way out of here, uses his belt as well. Going to be totally fine. Would have been a scary moment.
Has his rapid fire cannon already too.
Would have been a scary moment if he was just a little bit further away from safety, or if there was a little bit more vision for DRX. But there just simply isn't, so he gets away scot-free. Rapid fire cannon done, as you said. He's got a stopwatch. So was there ever really any danger?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think he was probably absolutely fine. As Dudu is underneath an inner turret at exactly 20 minutes. Sulka's going to be able to take an outer on the bottom side, so there is at least that. And Sulka's, his Cassiopeia is very, very strong. He's already able to, get some work done. as Vista's death was, of course, a result of a flash ultimate, but it's just not really doing enough. And with a 6,500 gold lead at 20 minutes, the Twisted Fate Camille cookie cutter composition is working very, very effectively. And the question marks on this Mordekaiser pick are really starting to come.
Yeah.
As I guess maybe if things had gone a different way, and if, you know, that early mistake hadn't have happened, the snowball wouldn't have started rolling. But now that it has, he looks like he's yeah, looks like.
And unfortunately, Mordekaiser being this behind doesn't offer a whole lot in late game team fights either. You know, at this point, practically whoever he ults might solo kill him in there. So he's not even removing someone strong from the fight, very likely. And you know, something like an Ornn, which was the other option I was leaning towards for the top lane pick, might have at least offered some good CC and some late game skilling, but they don't even have that.
Oh, Bao! Very, very close to falling down as in goes Dudu. He's going to take him out. The Hextech ultimatum comes in. Becca, yep, just going to be mincemeat as Kingen. He's got a Death Realm, but I don't think he wants to be in one with anyone, as Deft is going to be able to take him down. No heal, no flash required. And Hammerlife, there is no stopping this team. DRX look utterly lost, and I don't even think there is any option for them, you know? Like, oftentimes you're talking about they should have made this macro play, they should have done this at this stage, but honestly, they probably should have drafted differently. And this game is completely out of it.
I mean, the draft, again, I didn't hate it, but the way the execution doesn't work out here, you would say, is makes it look like maybe they just weren't as well enough versed on these styles of picks, and especially the Mordekaiser in the top lane, to execute this against a Camille. We've seen it before, like I mentioned. It is a strong option, and it's definitely one of the ones I was looking towards, but unfortunately, when you play it like this, it just doesn't function the way it was designed to, so perhaps a little bit more practice needed as Bao barely survives, and just a crazy jump forward from Deft in the squad, as you see Arthur is just riding the Weaver's Wall in. And it feels like everyone on Hanwha Life is like, I want a piece of the action. Like, can you share some of that gold with me? Because it feels like we're just, we're going to win this one no matter what. Like, I want to be involved.
Yeah, they're playing their clash placement games at this stage. It's really looking a bit rough. 4,000 gold is the lead that Dudu has over Kingen. And yeah, everyone's basically sharing gigantic advantages across the board. 2016 there for Deft, ahead of his opponent. What a year. That was his last year on EDG, I believe. Is Becca going to just have himself a present, but it's not the one he wants? His will going to be well and truly broken as Dudu teleports in. The kickback, though, onto Vista is pretty good, but whether it's going to be actually enough is going to be a huge question here as Deft trying to kite out Kingen. He may actually fall here, though. Flashes to the very edge, but the obliterate is going to be good. Meanwhile, the rest of Hanwha Life tidying up the back end, but that was probably about as good as of a team fight as DRX were going to get.
Arthur wants this, though. He's going to try to get in here and get a wall ready. He does go ahead and pop that Zonia's, and Dudu comes over for the kill steal. You know?
Dudu having a really fun time just saying, why wasn't I starting, guys? Who is this Morgan person? I should have been starting. And look, he's having a great performance. I think Morgan, not a bad player in his own right, and I think over in Kesper Cup, we saw that they can trade spots pretty effectively. But Dudu, his Camille was always pretty good, and it's looking great in this.
Yeah, like you said, this is the best this fight probably. It could have ended up going for DRX, Becca. Just no way out of this one, and Vista gets traded here as Chovy has to use everything he has to escape. Kingen finds Deft on the edge, but you can see that Soka is just not as relevant in this game as he'd like to be. With the way this game has gone, he hasn't gotten fed, and then, you know, Kingen gets his first kill of the game and is very excited about that, probably, at least in some regards, but it does go down. It's probably like, okay, at least I did something this game. At least there's one positive highlight for me. But, yeah.
Yeah. Def probably not too worried about that one either, because if Kingen's there trying to kill him, then the rest of his team's probably dying. As Dudu just going to take down Solker as best he can here, as the Hextech ultimatum is going to be enough as Bao dives on forward, but Dudu is way too fed. As the death run comes through, Chovy going to spend some time in there. Goes golden. He'll be fine. The cow is dead as the Q is going to connect, but unfortunately, when you try to go back to Atalia, she throws rocks at you. And Pioshik's just going to die in mid.
Golden into a gold card. You know, Atlas, it's a good time to be Fist of Fate in this game. And
I think Pioshik taking that resonating strike to his death sort of represents how DRX have been in this game. It's from the very beginning not looked like they'd had very much chance.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, again, I feel like the time that we saw the aggressive Death Realm was really the moment where it felt like, okay, the composition that's being played is just not understood by the team that's playing it, even though we've seen it before. We know it's on paper a strong counter. See the stun on Hisoka, does not hit Chovy with his own, and then this choke point is perfect for Deft, who is heading all the way up here. So Pioshik and Becca sending themselves to their own graves by walking right into that bullet time, as Chovy just going to be able to turn around, no problem. And we are looking at the beginning of the end.
Well, it's more like the end of the end. You know, I think the end started pretty early, and now we're at like 14,000 gold in the lead for Hanwha Life. Here's an aggressive trade, though. The move forward as Arthur is going to go golden. The seismic shove, stunning. As Deft is going to grab himself a double kill, make that one a triple potentially, but no, has to use his stopwatch and is now in a very rough position. Will be taken down there from Bao, and maybe DRX have got a bit of life left, and the answer's no, actually, because Dudu comes forward, and that's just easy tidy up. I got excited.
You got a little excited, you know. Soka had a big ult. It was very cool. It was very picturesque. If you just took a screenshot of that one frame with the double stun there, it might have looked like, wow, what a competitive game we might be watching here. But we don't live in that reality as Vista.
Vista tries to kill him with an exhaust. I love it. But of course, he didn't need that cooldown because he's not going to be able to make it to the Nexus in time, as Dudu is going to be the one that finishes it off. And a well-deserved 50 gold for him as well. Welcome to the LCK for 2021, Dudu. That was one hell of a performance. And actually, from the entirety of Hanwha Life Esports, but I think some question marks need to be raised to what DRX was thinking with how that composition was going to run, and how things were sort of figured out in the earlier stages, as they're already in their huddle saying we need to make some drastic.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, like you mentioned, I said it was the beginning of the end. You said it was the end of the end. I guess the difference, I think we're both on the same page. I think the difference maybe perhaps being in how long we define an end, but I think for the coaching staff, for DRX, like, the beginning of the end